You can help him. Look, Dr. Steiner, we have...
I think Gideon is probably sufficient. We do have about 200 beds, and Dr. Emmett.
Murray Hamilton I had just been a big fan of from the FBI story with James Stewart. And I just always wanted to work with him. I don't know, I was a big fan of his and saw him instantly as the mayor of Amity. So for me, that was, I didn't have to go through 9 actors. He was the first choice for that part, and I was lucky enough to get him.
But as you see, it's a beautiful day, the beaches are open, and the people are having a wonderful time. Amity, as you know, means friendship.
Amity Island has long been known for its clean air, clear water, and beautiful white sand beaches. But in recent days, a cloud has appeared on the horizon of this beautiful resort community. A cloud in the shape of a killer shark.
One of the geniuses of David Brown was to realize that he could play upon the egos of writers and actors and other people who are not in the movie business necessarily by convincing us that only by our appearing in the film could the film achieve its true greatness. So he came to me and said, would I consider possibly as a favor to him being in this movie? So I said, sure. I mean, this was pure ego. Why not be in a feature film?
I want to try that end again. Okay? All right. And there you have it. 2 different opinions by 2 men of goodwill. But here in Amity, it seems it's the public that's making up its mind. On Amity Island, this is Alan Craig. All right, Murray, that'll do it.
Save it.
When it came down to where we would shoot this film, we sent Joe Alves, our production designer, out with a team to give us some ideas and some photographs and pictures of where this town should be shot. And one of the places was the island of Martha's Vineyard, which, believe it or not, had never been photographed by a feature film before. They had very strict rules and regulations there.
Martha's Vineyard didn't particularly care for a movie invasion. They didn't like to see an artificial shark parked in a channel where their homes faced it.
The real attraction of Martha's Vineyard you couldn't see with the naked eye. It was the fact it was the only place on the East Coast where I could go 12 miles out to sea and still have a sandy bottom only 30 feet below the surface of the water where we could put the shark's sled and where the mechanical shark could function. It was very important that no matter what direction my cameras turned, I didn't want to see land. My fear was the minute the audience saw land, they'd say, look, this is getting pretty intense out here. Just turn the boat around and go toward that land that we keep seeing in your movie. I wanted the audience to feel very cut off, like they couldn't just run back to shore because there was no shore to run back to.
Full throttle! Get me right up alongside it!
I can't rim it up that high! It's not going to take it!
A lot of things, you know, forced me into making certain decisions that did not involve the shark because the shark was not working for a long time while we were on Martha's Vineyard in production. But that particular scene was conceived because even in the book, the book does describe the shark before you see the attack. I thought that what could really be scary was not seeing the shark and just seeing the water, because we all are familiar with the water. Very few of us have been in the water with a shark, but we've all gone swimming. And the idea of this girl going swimming and the audience going swimming with her would have been too extraordinary if, like a leviathan, the shark had come out of the water with its jaws agape and come down on her, and it would have been a spectacular opening for the film, but there would have been nothing primal about it. It would just have been a monster moment that we've all seen. And I really wanted to do it without seeing the shark in that case, and I wanted the violent jerking motions to just start to trigger our imaginations into either thinking about what's happening below the surface of the waterline or blocking what was happening below the surface.
The first jerk down, Stephen did. He had a cable that came to the front of my stomach and went to an anchor that was laying on the bottom of the ocean. And then he just sat, and when he wanted that pull, he just would pull. He wanted to put me on an electric winch. And I wanted to have more control, so we used manpower. They put cut-off Levi's on and had cables running from me out to the side to 2 pilings, and then all the way into the beach. And what they would do is we'd put marks on the beach, and the guys, we'd have 5 or 6 guys on each line, and they would run back and forth from mark to mark. So I didn't have the hard work to do. I just kind of sat there and got pulled around. The guys were running back and forth on the beach. Anytime during the scene, if I got in trouble, I could pull one of those strings and I was free and clear and could come to the surface. Because how would anybody know if I was hurt or I needed anything? I'm out there screaming like a fool.
In 1975, nobody had seen a big shark like that in a movie ever. And we were able to hold it back. We could show the evidence of his strength and the blood and the death that he caused.
Can you get my raft and go back out in the water?
Let me see your fingers. Alex, Kintner, they're beginning to prune.
Just let me go out a little longer.
Just 10 more minutes.
Thanks.
The death of the Kintner boy and all the paranoia and the tension and the suspense leading up to the actual attack when he's out on the raft, I, in my mind, wanted to do it in one shot. And in trying to figure out, you know, in a perfect world, how could I have done that in one sustained shot? I came up with the idea to have bathers with different colored bathing suits walking in front of the camera that would wipe off Roy Scheider, and the same color in the reverse, moving in certainly the other direction, would wipe on what he's looking at, which, even though it wouldn't be one shot, would give more of a seamless feeling and much more of a clear point of view that you knew who was looking at who, that all this must be from the police chief's point of view. The scene's about him, it's about his reaction. It's not about the Kintner boy being killed. It's about the chief of police, his fear of the water, his chief responsibility to protect the public, his fear that there is a shark out there, and he knows it's out there, and these people are going swimming anyway.
Did you see that?
Filming the beach scene on the Vineyard, called Amity in the picture, was difficult. The waters of the North Atlantic are extremely cold, and people as a rule do not go into the ocean even in the summer until very late in the summer. And this beach panic scene was very difficult to film. All the children and everything else, that's all extremely well orchestrated. It took a lot of time and a lot of doing.
All right, there's a shark in the water. He's been killing people. Legs have been bitten off and there's blood all over the place. Background action.
This is when being in the height of the summer helped us, because there were a lot of locals there from all parts of the country. I shouldn't call them locals, I should call them civilians.
I was going to be a victim in the estuary. I'm in a boat, in a little rowboat, and the way they shot it the first time, where I'm in the shark's mouth with a blood pack in my mouth, going underwater, on top of water, and then I see Roy's son staring at me, and as a last-ditch effort, the shark is heading right towards him, and I just make a move to grab him, and I let him go, and then I go underwater and disappear. Well, what happened in that scene is, it was so violent and so horrendous that they couldn't use it. It was just too violent, period. And I was in this little bucket seat strapped into it, and the shark fin was behind me on a sled. I had the kid in my arms, and I was going to take him underwater, and then I let him go, and then the sled went underwater.